All right, welcome everyone to the She Runs on AI series. We are very excited to be here with you today. If you're not following us, we are Adriana and Leo, founders of She Runs on AI, a community that is dedicated to empower women and people overall to embrace the use of AI, whether at their personal lives or at the professional settings. And we spotlight an amazing woman in the community, really literally running on AI. And today we are very excited to be sitting down with a legend in the local community in Louisville. Her name is Sarah Bhatia, who is a Director of Product Innovation at Slingshot. I will let her tell you more about her professional life, but she also teaches AI to MBI students in the University of Louisville. So, Sarah, why don't you tell us more about yourself?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you guys for having me. I think what you all are doing in this space is so important and so needed. And I'm really, really grateful to be here. Like you said, I am the director of AI product innovation at Slingshot. So we are a software and app development company located in Louisville. We work with all kinds of companies from startups to enterprise, and over the last couple of years have really dove headfirst into the AI world. That for me has kicked off a really wild journey of getting to go from not only building with AI, building AI forward tools and solutions, but also really truly embedding it in every aspect of my life. And saying I run on AI could not be more accurate.
Thank you so much for being with us today. So, we want to kick us off, Sarah. We kind of like your perspective on what do you think that it's getting in the way of women embracing AI a little bit more?
Sure. I mean, women are already maxed out, right? We could not have more on our plates. So I think
Hmm.
for a lot of us, the last thing that we need is just one more thing to learn, one more thing on the to-do list. But that is exactly why I won't shut up about AI and its impact and helpfulness, is that AI is one of the tools where the payoff really is worth the investment. It doesn't add to your plate. It is just finally the one thing that takes something off of it.
I agree 100%. And that's
I,
exactly why we built She Runs on AI to make it
Mhm.
easier for women to just go and learn how to actually use it. Adri, what do you think?
yeah, I mean that's why we started this, right? At the very beginning was like as we started using it, it was so obvious that it could help us with every single thing we had on our plate, right? Like kids, work, home projects, like everything. So Leo and I were thinking women need to be using this technology because this we finally have a technology that can actually help us with all of the things that we can do. And, over time, it has become obvious that it's not only about being more productive and helping you get things done faster, but actually improving quality and the output. And actually, I like to say it's she runs on AI not to uh, go faster, but to go to places where we haven't been before. So, I mean, that
Absolutely.
it's their real power. But if we are not ready to go there, at least to help us, deal with everyday tasks. So that's why I found personally your story so inspiring because you're truly running on AI. And so thank you for sharing your story has been
Of
super
course, you're spot
inspiring.
on. It has leveled up everything in all aspects of my life. I think the first moment early in my AI journey where I realized it could be so impactful with my personal life was consolidating sports schedules for my kids. So I had kids playing, and if you have kids in the YMCA, the
Hmm.
way that their UX layout is for sports scheduling is uniquely awful. If anyone from the YMCA is watching this, please come talk to me. We can make it so much better. But trying to translate that into something that I could share with my parents to come to games or even to help get my own head on straight. Once I realized I could just screenshot these different kids' schedules, throw them into ChatGPT and have it streamlined so I could just send a text out, that little small piece of efficiency in my day was such a time saver.
I mean, in the article, so for those who haven't read the spotlight that we did on Sarah, she shares a bit more. So please go to it. But like you share focus on the biggest pain points, right? And like that alone, right? Scheduling It's such a big one for women. And like that, there's so many others, right? Planning the menu for the week, considering all of the limitations, planning a party. I mean, the list of use cases, which I honestly don't like the term use cases because it makes it, I don't know, I don't think it's
I hear you.
helpful.
You
It's
know
just
what
like
though? At the same
problems. What are the
time,
problems?
yeah, at the same time though, like give us the credit of that mental load. Like the mental load, it seems like it's so innocuous, right? Like it's what are we going to make for dinner? Who has what sports schedules? And it seems easy, but when you're compounding the amount of things we have in our day, it is wild. And a use case is almost it maybe it is the most validating way to say it. Like a use case sounds like something serious and intense, and that
Hmm.
is the credit of what we're all trying to balance
That's
every
true.
day.
Yeah, and I think
That's
that,
true.
with AI, like breaking it down to the use case level is what actually breaks that barrier. Like I have talked to so many women who said like, "Oh, I'm not using AI, I'm old school." Or, it's too much for me. But like when you break it down, like, okay, this is what it means to be using AI. Maybe you just take a picture of all the ingredients in your fridge and say, what can
Hmm.
I make with this? It doesn't have to be this, apparatus of systems in your brain. It could be as
100%.
easy as recipes. And
100%.
anyways, Adriana actually made a ballet schedule for her daughter with AI, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, Sarah, you're talking about the why, right? One institution, but the reality is we're dealing with many, with schools, with
Hmm.
all the many activities, and everyone has terrible UIs, I have to
Well,
say.
and I think about, just what the inside of my brain looks like is a scary place sometimes, right? I'm running through what is my work schedule, what is my
Hmm.
personal schedule, how am I getting in what I'm doing at the gym, what is our family eating for the week, what are the kids doing? And then on top of that, my husband has a whole career. So like we have both of
Hmm.
us and all of these different responsibilities and things we're trying to balance. And I think most women and especially moms can relate it just that constant to-do list, that constant to-do list. And you're reaching back into the back of your brain, trying to remember what's next, what you have to do. So using an AI tool to just dump it somewhere and have something else responsible for streamlining, for creating those action items. And now with agentic AI, something that can actually go out and do tasks. I've demoed for many groups the ability to pick up my phone, talk through, hey, here's what I'm thinking for a dinner plan this week. Here's what I know I already have. Now go into my Kroger account and do the shopping for me and set it all up. So all I have to do is
Hmm.
approve and have it delivered. Like little things like that so that I can have something else doing the innocuous tasks that don't require my brain power is huge to get that off my plate.
And you
Sign
and
me
you
up.
said something little like that, but it's like not so
Yeah.
little,
Yeah.
right? And
Because
there's so many things like that.
it's right. And it's critical to keep the family functioning. It's critical to keep us all moving forward, but we have so much other things going on. It's a
Absolutely,
lot.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So, Leo, we have quite a few
Yeah.
questions for Sarah.
Yes. Yeah. So one of the things that really was very interesting for us, Sarah, is you went personal a little bit with the recent
Hmm.
spotlight. You not only did you talk about your work and how you use AI to teach, but you also went personal and share something more kind of like on the personal level and how you're actually
Hmm.
using AI about it. So two questions. One, or like, can you give us the background on this specific thing that I'm mentioning?
Yeah, of
Break it
course.
down for us. But two, how comfortable have you gotten into sharing some personal details with AI models out there? And where do you typically draw the line in saying, this is something I won't probably post on an AI model, but
Hmm.
anything until this, I will probably do it. So, can you kind of like teach us more about this space, privacy, and AI?
Yeah, of course. So I have systemic lupus, which is an autoimmune disease. It's stayed in check for a long time, and then, um, you know, joys of being a woman. Once I was finished having babies and my hormones resettled, it came in hot and heavy again. So was really going through a really tough lupus flare here recently. And part of that is obviously first and foremost working with my doctors and managing medications and understanding things there. But then for me, I also wanted to know what other levers I could be pulling on my own to help optimize getting myself back to a healthy baseline. So it was looking at things like what were the optimal foods I could be eating, what kind of supplements could I be taking. And, as a working busy mom, that's just one more thing on my plate to have to be thinking about and managing and balancing. So I was able to really lean on AI to get me through that tough health season. So what I did was created a project within one of my AI accounts. I input all of the current medications that I was taking with my doctor, everything from my actual medical team's care plan. But then I started consulting with AI on, anti-inflammatory diet. What foods do I eat or not eat, and how could we optimize, and how I was eating through my day to work with that. I was dropping in my CrossFit schedule. So I work out at a CrossFit gym. And so I was dropping in, here's what our plans are for the workout for the week. What can I do to adapt to make it better for my joints right now? So it was collaborating with an AI tool to help think about what I could be doing there. I had a list of supplements that I was taking, and I was leaning on AI to say, what are the optimal best times of day to take these? So I was taking things that I was already doing that had medical backing, medical approval. I'd already worked with my care team on it, but using AI to help get the mental load out of my brain and onto paper so that I could have the system saying, here's what you're going to do in the morning. Here's what you're going to do in the afternoon. Here's what you're going to do in the evening to help optimize my health and not have an additional list of tasks for my day.
I mean, that's such a powerful use case.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes when it comes to health, people say, well, what about doctors? And we're not going to be taking advice from AI. But I think what you're talking about, you continue to, of course, work with your doctor who is guiding you through this process. But my experience with similar topics or use cases for myself is it arms you with so much more information, better questions, right? For your doctor to say, hey,
Yeah.
this level of information, you didn't have the ability to go to your doctor and say, hey, these are all of the things that have happened. I noticed a change when I was taking the supplement, or, I was going
Exactly.
through a lot of hard workouts this week, and this is when I noticed that, right? So, I mean, I think this is just such a powerful, and again, as a mom, you're not only dealing with your health, but your kids. And so,
Being an autoimmune disease patient can be a full-time job in and of itself. So when you've got a couple jobs already and a handful of kids to take care of, the last thing I need is some additional mental load. So being able to lean on AI for that was huge. And you're right, the medical system isn't set up for us to reach out with every single small question. I can't, call up my doctor and say, hey, here's the workout plan for tomorrow. How should I adjust to best suit my needs? But I can reach out to AI for that. It's a really great use case for these tools without overstepping, crossing that line, but then getting medical advice. And I think, women are smart. We are good judgments of character. We're good judgments of where these tools are the right, application. And I think people underestimate our ability to make a good call there. And I think these tools can be really helpful in that space. Now, to get into talking about the privacy piece a little bit, I think of AI and privacy really similar to social media and privacy. Everyone sort of has a different threshold. They have a different line of what they're comfortable with. Some people are okay with having a public account and posting everything. Some people want to be more private. Some people want to post their kids. Some people don't. And all of those answers are fine answers. It's really an individual space. When it comes to your work and your employment, obviously you have to be cognizant of your individual policies and what makes sense there. But as far as what personal information you're willing to share with those training models, whether you are okay with, using your information to train the models, that's a super personal choice. But the good news is, we have those options and we have the ability to go in and adjust those settings accordingly for what works best for us.
thank you for sharing that. You're
Mm-hmm.
deep in this space, right? You're teaching, you are exposed in your work. Maybe not all women have are this deep, right? And have this
Mm-hmm.
access. But I'm very curious. How long did it really take you to get to a place where you thought, I'm now operating in a way that wasn't possible
Mm-hmm.
before? How long did it take to
Yeah.
learn and operate like this?
I mean, you bring up a really good point. For me, I am in these tools all day, every day because it's my job. So I think for me, it was probably a little bit faster of a shift in having that realization around the impact that AI could have. But I think for women who aren't working in tech and exposed to this stuff all day, I think it's less about timeline, more about making a fundamental thinking shift. I talk a lot about this difference between using AI for efficiency and using it for opportunity. So when we think about using AI for efficiency, it's those things that aren't to be undervalued because they are huge and impactful, but it's things like writing the emails, like making the grocery list, like working on the schedules, and those are huge. But there's also this massive opportunity to shift your thinking into collaborating with AI. I think right now we are so focused on asking the horse to run faster that nobody's stopping to ask about inventing a car, right? So you have to really think about how do we go from using these tools to do more in less time and shift our thinking to using these tools to do better, to do something that we never even had on our radar before. And I think that's really that magical shift that so many people are maybe just now getting to that gets me really excited.
Oh, I'm with you. I mean, once you start, you spoke in the spotlight about projects and how, and in a similar spot when you realize like, oh, I can have an executive assistant, I can have a
Mm-hmm.
content creator, I can have an
Yep.
editor, right? Like you can have this full
Mm-hmm.
team to help you with so many different things. And
Yeah.
when you realize that, you're like, oh, wait a second, what do I really want to do? You know,
Mm-hmm.
and that's that
Absolutely.
opportunity that you were talking about. That's why I love this idea of this is running on AI to go to places that we've never been before, that never felt possible before. So that is saying what
Yeah.
gets me super excited.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and
It,
I think we talked a little bit about projects in the spotlight, but to take that a little bit deeper, so the two really cornerstones of my relationship with AI, aside from the actual individual models. So for me personally, it's Claude. I get asked that all the time. It's Claude all day, every day. I've made the transition, but outside of that, it's projects and it's voice to text. That is my whole game. I recently started using Wispr Flow, which is a voice to text app that works really nicely across mobile and desktop. It works really nicely across your different apps. Pretty much every individual app has a voice to text functionality right now. So it's less about the specific tool, but it's really more about removing that cognitive filter of thinking to writing. Being able to just freestyle it, having less friction between my brain and the tool, so that again, it's just what is going on in here, how do I turn it into something actionable, and using a tool to make that connection in between.
I love that. And so it sounds like you made the transition to ChatGPT to Claude, which
I
I'm
have.
I'm in that process of exporting my data, and I think I've decided that I fully want to move. So
Yeah.
that resonates with me. What other and that was the other question I had for you. What other tools do you use? So Whisper Flow, Claude.
Yeah. So I was a ChatGPT girly for a long time. It had all of my background and my history in there. I think two points for me personally. One, well, I'll say professionally. One, I really just like the output of Claude better. I think it is smarter, so to speak. I think it gets higher quality output when it comes to building. It's really unmatched. The code quality is so much better. What I'm able to do for actual software builds are so much better. But for me personally, I didn't like where ChatGPT was going. I think what they're doing with their relationships in the outside world, what they're doing with bringing advertising into the chats, I think is dangerous. I have a lot of concerns with the strategic leadership and kind of where they're going with that tool. So, for me, with how ingrained these tools are in my day to day life, making that shift to Claude made a lot of sense. And then other tools outside of that, anytime I'm doing anything with image generation, I'm using Gemini.
Yep.
Gemini and that Nano Banana integration is beautiful. I'm finding myself using Gemini just for search more and more lately. So obviously, everyone, I shouldn't say obviously, a lot of people know that when you're doing deeper research, Perplexity is really wonderful for that. But when I'm just trying to Google something, but I want a more robust answer, using that Gemini within the mobile browser is really strong. But that being said, Claude is still my daily driver for everything, really personally and professionally.
I love that. And I have to get try Whisper Flow because I've noticed, I don't know if it's
Sure.
with Claude, and I agree with what you said with voice to text. That has been a game changer for me. That has changed everything. But I'm finding that Claude is not getting it right
Yeah,
lately. I feel like this
I would
is new
agree.
because
Uh-huh. I had a hard time at first with that transition because I think that the voice to text functionality on chat, especially on my phone, was a lot stronger than Claude. But once somebody turned me on to Wispr Flow, and the output is so much better. It's understanding what I'm saying better, especially if I really get rolling and that southern accent comes in, and where my phone is sometimes not picking up on my accent and translating that in. Wispr Flow is doing a lot better job. So I'm using Wispr Flow now for voice to text within my actual text messaging. I'm using it to write emails. On the rare occasion that I'm writing an email myself and not having AI do it, I'm using Wispr Flow there as well. It just is a really nice interface to kind of swipe back and forth across apps on my phone. And then I've got shortcuts set up for it on my computer as well. So if I'm doing a lot of heavy work within Claude, I'm just turning that baby on and I'm walking through what my vision is and talking all day about it. I'm actually literally working on writing a book. Which sounds crazy to say out loud, but it is all about kind of this idea of using AI tools to level up your daily work. And I've been doing all of it using voice to text, using voice to text in a Claude project and going through, here's what I want to be telling people, here's the messages that I have, and using these tools to streamline it and turn it into something tangible.
that's so exciting. I'm ready for the book. Let me know when it's available. I will read
Well,
it
I will.
immediately. But that what you said is like crazy to say, right? Like now you can write a book,
Yeah, yeah,
like
exactly.
like on top of
Um,
all of the other things that you were doing.
I have nothing else
That's
going on.
possible.
Well, I joke about it all the time that I was a journalism major. I was a news reporting and writing major in college. So never in my career ambitions did I think I would be working in tech and building software. But I feel almost validated over the last year because now so much of what I do in my daily job is about communication. It's about streamlining your thoughts. It's about communicating exactly what your vision is, which is really what my educational background was in the first place. So it is funny to see it all come full circle with the way that LLMs have just transformed what work looks like.
Yeah, I love that. And I'm sold. I'll try Whisper Flow. I'll
It's
definitely give it a try because it's been
someone
really
else who's deep in
frustrating.
the AI space turned me onto it. And I mean, even just with voice to text in general, I feel like people feel like it's awkward, and that is a fair assessment. It feels maybe a little bit uncomfortable to be talking to your computer or talking to your phone, but I swear if you give it a week, you cannot go back. It is so much more efficient. I feel like I am getting better output, and not to totally nerd out and give you a really verbose answer to this, but we know that LLMs function better with more context. So when we think about what happens when we go from thought to writing, naturally we're losing some of that context as we're
Right.
translating our thought into something on paper. So if we are using these voice to text tools and we're going straight from brain to LLM, we're giving more context and ultimately getting better output in the end product as well.
I love it. Love it. Yes,
It's
I
huge.
agree. Agree. But looking back, what resources do you wish you had access to earlier in your journey, or that you wish that women have
Mm-hmm.
to make things easier? Because I mean, we started this conversation saying we don't have time to be
Yeah.
learning like something new. So what could we
Mm-hmm.
do?
Um, I was really fortunate that I work for a company that prioritized us learning these tools. So they really
Mm,
worked to carve out that time for us to get in and explore and build. And I wish that more women had that ability to have protected time to just play. So I feel like there's a lot of pressure right now to learn AI, to be doing with AI. And that's not what I want people to do. I want them to be able to go in and just play with it, not to be thinking about optimizing or being efficient, but just to go in and play and build and discover what that unlocks for them. Because I think once people have the experience of tangibly getting into these tools and understanding what it's like to co-think with AI and really truly offload that cognitive load, there's no going back. It is such a game changer. Just to get in there and play.
thank you. That is
Yeah.
so true that such the companies plays such an important role in getting people, giving them the space to experiment. And
$100%.
it takes time. So,
Hmm.
Sarah, thank you for being so generous with your time. So
Absolutely.
that is Sarah, and that's what running with AI looks like. And to our listeners, if Sarah's story made you think differently about how you could be using AI in your own life, not just at work, but really everywhere. That's exactly why Leo and I are doing this. Share this episode with a woman who needs to hear it. And if you want to be featured or know someone who should be featured, come find us. We are She Runs on AI. Thank you, Sarah, and see you next time.
Thank you for having me. Bye, guys.
Thank you.